What's up, witches? Today we are going to do a paranormal story time of when I was in Denver on vacation. I've done some paranormal story times in the past, but I don't have really too many to share. As I've said in other paranormal story times, I don't really go out ghost hunting or looking for haunted places. And usually when these paranormal situations happen to me, I am with my aunt. And for some reason, everything is just heightened when we're together. My aunt on my mother's side also just has the gift of, seeing spirits and feeling their presence like I do, and just kind of being more sensitive to that. So when we're together, it's just extremely heightened. My aunt liking to go on ghost tours and also being sensitive to it with me doesn't really help the situation. If you want to check out my other paranormal story times, it's under the Storytime playlist of my YouTube channel. So let's get into it. So we were doing a haunted bar pub crawl in Denver, Colorado about 6 years ago. I was with my aunt, my mom, and my aunt's friend who lives there. So we went to a few different places, and yes, I did sense some spirits and things like that. And then we went into a certain bar. The bar was called the Blake Street Vault Bar, and it's on different ghost shows that you would see on the History Channel. I didn't know anything about this place, but we go down to the basement to continue our tour. My mom, who's also sensitive to those things, goes, ooh, and she got a shiver as soon as we walked in. And then we all were in a circle as a tour together around the tour guide, and I was standing right next to the tour guide with kind of like this hole in the wall behind me. Little did I know that where I was standing was where the apparition would appear. And the tour guide starts talking and starts sharing the story of the ghost. And the story kind of goes along the lines of, in Denver, Colorado, when it was the Wild Wild West, things were a lot different. It was kind of like you create your own laws because it was just expanding so fast. Anyway, so in the basement there was a huge vault, and the bar, before it was a bar, was actually a brothel, and there would be, lady of the night there, and different cowboys coming through wanting to spend some special time with the ladies. And everyone kind of carried around, in those days, their riches, everything that they owned, basically gold, very valuable things on a day-to-day basis. So what the brothel would do was take everyone's belongings of the gentlemen spending the night, and they would put it in a giant vault, along with guns, coins, whatever they were carrying, so it would be safe while they were having their special time with the ladies. So we were down there in the basement, and there's some vault there, and the guy is saying that the ghost that haunts this area was one of the visitors of the brothel, and he was known to be a thief and steal things. So he was spending the night with one of the ladies, and they said that she was, like the most beautiful and the most popular. I don't want to say the word there, but he was spending the night with her, and she woke up and found out that, he wasn't in his bed, so she goes and looks for him. She went in to look for him and went down to the basement and found this man robbing essentially the whole safe and everybody that was there that night. So she screamed to alert people and wake them up, and then he ended up unaliving her with a pistol found in the safe. So as punishment, the people took this thief and threw him in the safe. While the tour guide was talking and saying how this guy passed away, this is really scary, and I've never experienced anything like this, and it was really, really terrifying, and it's hard to explain how scary it was for me. But you know how if you stand up too fast and you feel like lightheaded and you kind of see spots in your eyes? That started to happen, and I saw the spots in my eyes, and it just closed in till it was completely just nothing, and I couldn't see at all. I was blind. I couldn't see. And then my ears, you know how when your ears ring sometimes? My ears started ringing so loud, and then it was nothing. I couldn't hear or I couldn't see. I was straight up deaf and blind for a whole 10 Mississippi seconds, and I know that that's not very long, but for you to lose your hearing and your sight at the same time, a lot of things rushed over my mind, like, am I going to be deaf and blind forever? What's happening in my body? And I basically was just afraid that I was going to be deaf and blind forever, and I started feeling very lightheaded, and I couldn't, keep my footing. And my aunt's friend touched my arm, and that must have, given me some type of energy or Reiki or something, because, she had this concerning energy, and it snapped me out of it, and then I could see and then I could hear again, but I still felt like I was going to throw up, and I felt really sick. And I already went through the possibilities. I ate that day. I felt totally fine before going down there. I didn't have altitude sickness. It was already 3 days into my trip, so that was the only time that I felt that way. And I had to get away from the tour. I had to get away from that spot, so I was just sitting in a chair, kind of with my head between my knees, just feeling so uneasy. And it was just absolutely terrifying. It had felt like someone just kind of put an electrical thing in my body and just drained out all my energy, if that makes sense. I was just so exhausted, and it was not a good feeling. And then later, I found out that the apparition was in the safe, and it went after me. And if you think about it, if you're locked in a safe, it's dark, you can't see anything. It's stone and cement, so you can't hear anything. So I was like going through what this man, the ghost, went through in his last moments of death, not being able to hear, not being able to see. He kind of gave me that experience. Thanks, man. Appreciate that so much. And they say that this bar is one of the most haunted bars in Denver, and I can totally see why. And the tour guide didn't want to say anything to kind of scare us, but it made me think, did this happen before? Has this happened in other tours that this tour guide has done? Because he kind of like had this look about his face. It's just kind of like, so I feel like he had experienced this before but didn't really want to say anything, because I guess it's bad for business that people are being attacked on his tours. But as we walked up from the basement of that bar and left the bar, I felt completely better. I didn't feel nauseous, I didn't feel sick. I only felt sick and nauseous when I was in that bar. So you can see why I'm not really the biggest fan of ghost tours, and I don't go out looking for stuff, considering that things kind of find me anyway. If you want to hear some more paranormal story times, I do have a few more, so comment below. I'm actually experiencing some paranormal activity in my new house. I just moved in 3 months ago, so let me know if you want a video on that. This stuff finds me. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And thank you for letting me into your home.